guitar music comes out every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on IE Newswire and the Evil FB Network and Rumble. Check us out, subscribe, type in IE Newswire, Rumble, and YouTube, all that good stuff. And that hopefully we'll have Susan Shelley on at the bottom of the hour. She has a little bit of a schedule, maybe snafu, maybe not, but we'll see if she calls in at 5:30. We'll get her insights on the whole Trump assassination attempt and Joe Biden getting the vid for the third time of the shot of the vaccine. That if you take the vaccine, you will never get COVID, ever. We can now firmly say the biggest bunch of BS that has ever been perpetrated on mankind. 3 times the dude's got it now. He had to cancel his much anticipated Las Vegas, Nevada speech today. Some sort of radical nutcase group up there that he was trying to pander to, that he will no longer be able to do. I guess they call it poetic justice. For all of us, the unclean, all of us that were ridiculed, all of us who were told we were tinfoil hat, not even MAGA hat, tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorists, bunch of stupid white hillbillies, and the list goes on. Well, they haven't stopped that. I mean, how many times did we have to endure the whole nonsense, the idiocracy? Going back to the convention last night, of course, Nikki Haley showed up and gave a speech when she said she wouldn't. But after the assassination attempt, I bet you she thought if she was going to have any sort of political career, she better get her fanny up there on the stage, and she did. She gave a very, in my opinion, very milquetoast speech supporting Donald Trump, but at least she did tell her Never Trump supporters, and this is basically, she didn't quite say it this way, but this is what she basically said. You may hate Trump, but he's light years ahead of even a sane Joe Biden. So that was it. But what struck me is right after, boom, here comes Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, who was the other main challenger to Trump for the Republican nomination in 2024. And was a rising star, got elected governor, reelected in 22, barely beat that guy that was worse, Gillum or whatever his name was. Way worse. He was even nuttier than Bernie Sanders. He was Bernie Sanders who wasn't sincere. At least Bernie Sanders believes and makes a somewhat coherent argument for what he's trying to espouse. But Ron DeSantis gave a fiery, to the point, forceful, like he did before he started running for president. And this is, you can't let people rework you. I don't care if they're giving you 100, 200 million or whatever ridiculous amount. The never Trumpers, the haters, the establishment spent on the DeSantis campaign. They tried to change him. They changed him into Robot Ron. A guy you couldn't recognize hardly, other than they looked the same physically. The Ron DeSantis, who was governor, who was congressman from Florida, then governor, was a complete 180 from the candidate. They tried to shape him into something he wasn't. Last night, he was back to being Ron DeSantis. And if Ron DeSantis would have maintained his true personality during the presidential campaign, not saying he would have beat Trump, but he wouldn't have been, after Iowa, he wouldn't have been walking with his tail between his legs, and Jamie Dimon and all those cats, Ken Block, wouldn't have been going, oh crap, we're in deep trouble now. So again, be yourself. I think J.D. Vance, we'll see probably just a little bit after the show. I think he will be. I think Trump will. I think, the assassination attempt is probably going to change his narrative a bit. You might not see the, let's say, I'm going to poke the rattlesnake with a stick, Donald Trump. But you cannot temper, or you cannot change. Everybody's, well, Trump's got to do this, Trump's got to do that. No, Trump is Trump. Trump got to where he is today. President, fantastically successful developer, businessman, TV personality even before this. He got to where he is by being Donald Trump. Obviously, some are going to some people are going to like you no matter what. Some are going to hate you. Some are going to be ambivalent. But you don't want to back up. As soon as you try to change, as soon as you try to be somebody else. Something people ask me all the time, well, how do you able to speak like this and that and that? I said, well, just do it. You've got to don't try to copy me. Don't try to copy Donald Trump. Don't try to copy Amber Rose or Matt Gaetz or J.D. Vance. Now, take little bits and pieces that you see that and incorporate it into your style, but make sure you make your own brand. You make your own style. That's how you get credibility and how people will come to trust and believe in what you say. Because as we've known, and same thing with this assassination attempt, people may not know exactly if you're lying to them or BSing them, but most people, and most of the time, you have an innate sense that they are. Just like that Cheatley chick, the Secret Service buffoon. Well, the Secret Service could have been injured on a sloped roof. That's about the least sloped roof it is humanly possible without being flat. And if it was flat, she just said, well, that was 10 feet off the air, and they could have slipped and maybe fell to their deaths or been a quadriplegic for the rest of their lives. So we had them down on the floor inside the building. Well, hell, why didn't you just tell them to go down to the donut shop and have coffee and donut, or the bar and, do shots of tequila or something? Inside the building, Holy cow. But they why even say any of that? Because it wouldn't really even matter if it's true. Nobody in the right mind's going to believe what you just said. Cheatley. What a name. Should drop the LE or whatever and just have Cheat. She should change her name to just Cheat. Cheat, cheat. Cheat, cheat, cheat. Make a middle name too. But DeSantis was great. I thought he gave the best speech yesterday. Amber Rose the first day was my pick. I thought DeSantis gave the best shot yesterday. We'll see today. Again, I said I saw Matt. I didn't get to see him. I just saw a little snippet of him. He always usually gives a great speech, and he does the same thing. The reason Matt Gaetz is good as a public speaker is he's saying what he believes in. And he's not trying to copy anybody else. I think I've seen JD before speak. He's very good, very excellent speaker. And even to that, when he said when he was a never Trumper, he had the strength of character to say, I was wrong. I was convinced of all that. It's just like what we're telling those left of center to the real nutcases. You apologize for what you've done. And I'm really more serious than not about this, and you beg for forgiveness. Then we'll think about having this talks about this unity stuff. You've already accomplished, let's say, 50% plus, and it's a growing plus of unity in the center right. You're seeing day 3 of that. You will see it explode tomorrow when Trump comes on stage. This could possibly be the biggest convention moment in video recorded history coming up tomorrow. And again, I just want to show a couple short clips of Ron DeSantis. Here on the old X machine. Let's see if she'll play. Get on the right bandwagon. Here we go.
America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
Even Donald J. got a chuckle out of that one and his little smirky smile. And again, you don't want to eliminate that. You don't want to eliminate that smirk. That's Trump's trademark. That smirky smile. But DeSantis was on it. That was a Ron DeSantis, I said, that was congressman, could give a great 5-minute rendition on the House of Representatives floor, or 2 minutes or 1 minute. Great as Florida governor, 2-term Florida governor. Just sucked when when they tried and made him into Robot Ron. That's why you should. It's the danger of AI technology. But that was a great line, and we can't. We're done with the weekend of Bernie stuff. And the lies and the deceit and everything else that's went on. It's been a very long time. And we're starting to get there. Like I say, we're getting that tip over point of 50% plus. It's something else. Here we go. I'm thinking.
Donald Trump back to the White House. Life was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected when Donald Trump was our commander-in-chief. Joe Biden has failed this nation. As a veteran, I was appalled when 13 of our service members were killed in Afghanistan due to Joe Biden's dereliction of duty.
So right there, that was like the opening shot from Ron DeSantis. You could tell the passion, you could tell the sincerity in his delivery, in his voice. And he made reference to those 13 that died in Afghanistan, 4 of them right here from the Inland Empire. Or from California, I think 3 of the Inland Empire. It is. I think we're going to get more, hopefully, of that tonight. Like I say, tomorrow, when Trump is introduced and comes out and gives his acceptance speech for the Republican nomination in 2024 for the presidency of the United States of America, I think you're going to see possibly, well, I can tell you it's probably going to be the most watched. It's probably going to be the greatest moment in recorded history of televised presidential conventions. We'll see how that little prediction works out, but I'm betting the farm at Vegas on one roll of the crop table or roulette wheel. That's where I'm going. One of the things that I hope we catch from the last few days, one is I want to warn everybody not to get too complacent. We still got about, 3.5 months to go till the election. No time to let up. Actually, and we've had a pretty good, 3 weeks. This is actually the time to dig in and work harder. Like I've said, my philosophy, especially in political campaigns, up until the polls close November 5th at 8 p.m. in California, you work like you're 10 points behind, and you got to pull off a miracle to win this. That's because if you don't, as soon as you blink, as soon as you turn your head, as soon as you sit down to rest, they'll run over you like a 10-ton steamroller smashing down asphalt. So, and again, as good as things have been looking the past 3 weeks, we're just cranking up. No time to rest. Leave no stone unturned. I want to get to this local story. It seems like the smash and grab artist is I kind of chuckle a little bit because it's kind of apropos. Well, I guess they figured they've hit all the jewelry stores they could get in under Joe Biden America. What's the next thing that's went up a lot? Guns. So now the smash and grabbers from Ventura, I think through LA to San Bernardino to Riverside down to San Diego County have hit like 7 or 8 gun stores. Orange County. It's 7 or 8 gun stores and a smash and grab attempts on that. Here's Marla Tellas introing in the great Ed Laticos. Fox 11 is. Here we go.
California, a 6-man burglary ring allegedly hits at least 8 gun stores in the past 9 months. Fox 11's Ed Lascos, he's live in Orange now with more. Ed?
And Marla, it really is a daring crime spree that has been busted wide open by federal agents. They have made 6 arrests so far, 6 suspects now in custody. A crime spree, a burglary spree that's been up and running for 9 long months, and always with the very same target: gun stores, gun shops. Have a look. The latest one, the latest target just last weekend, still all boarded up from the attack. The smash and grabbers caught red-handed as they move in on security cameras. To that video we go. Watch. There they are, the smash and grabbers in action, always using a stolen vehicle. That's the one backing up there. They use it to ram through the secured entrance. Then inside, they're grabbing everything as fast as they can.
Approximately 7 men then entered into the building and started doing a smash and grab with over 75 weapons, which included both rifles and handguns.
The Fowler Gun Room, a family-owned business in Orange, the latest gun shop hit last weekend in a 9-month-long crime spree, a crime wave always targeting gun stores.
We got hit back in October, and what we know is they stole 43 guns.
His shop, Chaparral Coin and Gun in Murrieta, one of the first to be hit in a brazen crime wave that stretches from Ventura to San Diego. Check it. You count them: 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. 8 gun shops all smashed and grabbed. Now the feds have cracked that crime wave. 6 suspects all in custody. Some seen right in the act on those security cameras. They are now all under arrest, with federal agents showing some of the stolen guns recovered. But the big concern, the stolen guns already sold out on the black market.
Where are those guns going to be used? I mean, what kind of danger does that pose to the public?
That's one of the continuing threats from the now busted crime wave that could have ended in a shootout here in Orange. The smash and grabbers, remember, they're now heavily armed with stolen handguns and rifles. They're jumping into their getaway cars just seconds before an armed confrontation with police.
We arrived just 45 seconds after they fled. Had the officers arrived and gotten the call sooner, this would have ended in a pursuit or, even worse, a possible shootout.
And now just to imagine that as we come back out here live. So as the investigation goes on, you saw the picture there of some of the weapons, the handguns recovered, but they're already searching the serial numbers on the weapons that are still missing, and they're hoping at this point that they don't get any kind of cross-matching to show that those weapons have already been used in any criminal activity. So far, not the case. They're looking possibly at making some more arrests. For now, we're live here, City of Orange. Back to the west side we go.
A daring crime spree across.
So now they're hitting the gun stores. I think the biggest mistake, well, they're hitting Orange, especially with Todd Spitzer, Riverside, San Bernardino, in that area. I think Spitzer, Hestron, and Anderson, the district attorneys there, will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. Don't know how Ventura County's going. They've been kind of dropping off that LA County stupid deep end. So is San Diego. So we'll see how they react to this. But hopefully they bust this. And again, it's like we've been letting them steal. Since the Kias and Hondas are so easy to steal, that's what they're doing. They're stealing the Kias and Hyundais, using them for battering rams to bust through now the gun stores. And here we go. We're going to, if we don't get our act together, this stuff is going to continue. This is why the few of you who are clinging on to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Gulag Gavin Newsom, we're going to drag in kicking or screaming. And we don't care if you're going to act like 5-year-olds who we just told you can't have a lollipop or something, and you're just going to lay in the middle of the street screaming and throwing a hissy fit. Too bad. Hope you don't get run over by a car. Because, like I said, increasingly, I think people have been done with it. More and more. I think we've way crossed over that 50% plus, where people just have had enough. And I think it will strive to be the motivation for the next 3.5 months, that we dig in harder. We don't let up. We don't quit. Okay, shoot at us. If you don't kill us, we're going to come back. We're going to stand up and fight, fight, fight. The chains have been removed. Even Nikki Haley had to regress. I think Ron DeSantis took a cutting torch and cut them all to pieces and took them to the junkyard, because he was back to being the Ron DeSantis I remember before he acquiesced to the establishment. And now the establishment is acquiescing to MAGA. It's refreshing. It's somewhat of a relief, especially in the assault we've had, especially in the last
30 seconds.
Years. As you heard Jesse said, we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET 1490 in a sec or two. Hopefully, we'll see if Susan Shelley calls in. If not, we'll continue on with this, but it's why you never give up hope, no matter what. We've had 3.5 good weeks. Let's build on it.
3 seconds, here we go.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed.
Side guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Get a cough right in the middle of my harrowing introduction that I usually do. Hang on here a second. That out. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FP Network and Rumble. Check us out, subscribe. Type in iNewsWire, hopefully on Rumble, but if you have to, go to YouTube. Like I said, something was up. I think we've been on YouTube 6 weeks straight. That's never happened. I've been on and off for, I think I started the YouTube thing about 4 years ago. I don't think I ever got more than about a week, maybe 10 days without them throwing me off for somewhere. Like I said, the karma was turning. It obviously turned And the country realized it on June 28, 2024, that we had been conned. And I'm saying a lot of us knew it. A lot of us were waving that red hat or red flag, or we never did wave the white flag, fortunately. We flew those flags upside down, whether it was Alito or Mrs. Alito or whomever. We were practically threatening to run around the streets naked to sound the alarm. Well, it's not. And this, back in the day, the redcoats were coming was a sound of, hey, the evil British monarchy is coming. Well, now it's a sound, when you hear the red hats are coming, it should bring a calm to you and a sigh of relief and a knowing things are going to get better. It's something else that we really need to take a step back on. And just in those times that you look back in the last 3 weeks and say, okay, it looks like it's turning around. Again, just don't get complacent. But as we usually do at this time, we have the famed editorial writer, columnist for the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts. More important to me, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, Susan Shelley. Welcome to Newswire with Roy.
Thank you, Roy. Great to be with you.
So, of course, we had the big assassination attempt on Saturday and the fallout and everything else. What say you, Susan?
Well, this is one of the strangest stories I can ever remember. This is so obviously not just a lone gunman, because if just a 20-year-old kid can walk into a Secret Service protected area with a rifle and climb up to the roof of a building and jump from buildings to buildings and be seen by spectators, pointed out to police see him and get on the radio and say he's there, and minutes go by and they let President Trump take the stage, how does that happen? I mean, this looks so much like I guess like the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping hoax, which is a situation that was engineered by the FBI, where they went out and they looked for these oddball people who could be persuaded to do things, and then they gave them the means to do it, and they let them do it. And that's what this sounds like. But that's such an impossibly evil thing to believe that I hope it isn't the case. But it's either incompetence on a scale where everyone should be fired, and no one has been, or it's an inside game to take out the President of the United States from inside the government, and that's what it looks like.
I was thinking, and I didn't have time, I was going to send you a tinfoil hat for today. I posted this on there, and I think Jeff Haywood, friend of mine, sent me this, but it's got the building without being a flat roof. This is about as low a slope of roof as you can. And it has a Gumby figure on top of it with two arrows pointing sniper look, and one up the bottom, bad guy. And it has a Secret Service agent guy looking on there, like with his radio on, all clear on the north end over. And
yeah,
no matter what you do, at this point, if Joe Biden didn't, if this was incompetence, he should have immediately fired Cheatley, said, we're going to get to the bottom of this. This is not ever going to happen again. I don't care who it is. I don't care if I hate the guy with hate his guts for every reason. We are not going to stand for that. He has not done he didn't fire Cheatley. He has not said that. In fact, he's tried to turn up the rhetoric heat. So that just shows me he's trying to hide or cover or obfuscate what's really going on here, Susan.
It looks very bad. If no one gets fired for allowing a sniper to be on the roof with a clear shot at President Trump, protected by the Secret Service, that is, really someone should be charged with murder, because there was a spectator murdered, there were 2 people gravely injured, and President Trump was a half an inch away from being murdered in front of 50,000 people live and international television. This is very odd, and when you look at the circumstances where the Democrats have been going after Trump, the deep state has been going after Trump, the Biden administration has been going after Trump. They've tried lawfare, they've tried humiliating him, they've tried everything they can. They've tried to put him in prison for 1,000 years on bogus charges. Tucker Carlson and others have been predicting for quite a while that the next step is assassination, because they are trying to take him out, and he won't fall. And here's the most extraordinary circumstance. The interesting thing about this assassination attempt that's different from the other things is that the other things were complicated and perhaps arguable, or seemed arguable. You could get into a fight about whether he falsified business records, or whether he shouldn't have had documents, or whether he shouldn't be on the ballot because insurrection or whatever. You could have nuanced arguments and go to court and file briefs and wait for the courts. But there's no other side to it. There's nothing complicated here. Somebody took a shot at Donald Trump, the nominee of the Republican Party, the former president of the United States. And that is not something that you can talk about on camera with this side and that side, and on the other hand, but this, but that. This is absolutely a crime against the United States government, against the people of the United States who are about to elect a new president. And so that makes this particular failed attempt different than the other failed attempts.
It is. And I put this up on Newswire this morning, and it just blew up all over the place. It says, change my mind. They allowed him on the roof. They let him take shots. They took him out so he couldn't talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was that weirdness in the investigation where the FBI had his phone, but they said they couldn't open his phone, but they said he acted alone. Well, if they couldn't open his phone, how do they know he acted alone? How do they reach that conclusion in 15 minutes? I mean, it just looks terrible. And it looks like some of these other things, as I mentioned, the kidnapping hoax with Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, it looks like that. You have this, there's no way this 20-year-old from his mom's basement is outwitting the United States Secret Service and all the law enforcement in Pennsylvania. There's no way. And all of these spectators on the ground pointing him out and screaming and telling the Secret Service, there's a guy with a gun. And then you have these Secret Service snipers who are eyes on him, and they don't do anything. I mean, somebody must have been on the radio saying, should we shoot? Should we take him out? There he is. And someone must not have said yes. So there is much more to come out. Now, of course, if this assassination attempt had succeeded, then the investigation would be easily diverted into, oh, we'll never know, much as the Las Vegas shooting was at the music festival. Oh, we'll never know. We don't know if there was a motive. We don't know what that... Does anything make sense anymore?
Absolutely not. You know, they even if they would have been much better off if they would have just said nothing. At least the inane excuse from the one that stands out in my mind is, well, we didn't want a Secret Service agent up there on a sloped roof. He might have slipped and fall and injured himself or something. I mean, do you think we're all 3-year-olds or something, lady? I mean, do you think we're that gullible and idiots that we'll just, because the head of the Secret Service said that? I mean, come on. If your Secret Service, if your agents are afraid to walk on almost a flat roof, you should be out there firing every one of them today.
Absolutely. And the other thing is there's another technique. People have been all over Twitter/X talking about this, people who are snipers and have worked in law enforcement or the military, talking about how one of the techniques is to block the sight lines. So here they left a clear sight line. If you can't secure the area, then you block the sight lines. But they didn't do anything. They left a clear sight line. This was a building controlled by local law enforcement as a staging area. This is absolutely indefensible. So what in the world happened here? You probably saw this. James Comer, the chair of the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives, sent a subpoena to Kimberly Cheatley, the head of the Secret Service. Sit down and talk to us, not optional. So maybe we'll get some answers. At the moment, the Homeland Security Department was blocking her testimony, but they can't do that. They can't do that. This is very serious. And this is, unlike the Kennedy assassination, either one of the Kennedy assassinations, there's a lot of video of this. Like, everyone had video of this. Like, you see a shot of the crowd at a Trump rally, everyone's got their phone up making their own souvenir video. So it's from every angle, plus all the cameras, plus everything else that law enforcement was doing with surveillance. There's a lot of video of this. Nothing is going to escape it. And it's not going to be grainy, and it's not going to be black and white, and it's not going to be questionable. So we will find out. I think this might be the classic, you shoot at the king, you best not miss. And I think this is the end. This will probably end in a lot of heads rolling in the government and perhaps a reorganization of the intelligence services.
The only thing that, and I've told everybody today, especially, there's 3.5 months to go, and don't get complacent. But if things keep on the current trajectory that it is right now, in 3.5 months, starting in 3.5 months, there are going to be an awful lot of people who are going to be sweating bullets, peeing their pants, thinking, man, my days of freedom are coming to an end, because people in this whole situation, from the COVID con through this and everything else to the Trump assassination attempt, if multiple people are not sitting behind bars, I believe we will have failed, and we will not turn this stuff around until we do it. And I said, they keep talking about this unity thing, and I am dead serious about that. Until they on the left, on down, admit what they did, and then beg for forgiveness, then at that point we might start even consider this unity talk. But if you're going to keep going out like you have since Saturday, and still trying to fan the flames of this, you know right where to shove that unity stuff, Susan Shelley.
Boy, I really wonder if it will have any effect on Adam Schiff's race in the Senate, because you probably saw.
Yes.
You wouldn't have bet that Steve Garvey could. You wouldn't have gone to Las Vegas and made a lot of money betting that Steve Garvey could beat Adam Schiff in a statewide race in California. But in the second quarter, Steve Garvey raised more money than Adam Schiff did, according to FEC reports. And as soon as that report came out, Adam Schiff called for Biden to step down from the nomination because he said, we're going to lose the Congress and the Senate. That made me think that his internal polling is collapsing. And his statement that he put out saying that Biden should leave the race repeated the same stupid talking points about Donald Trump being a threat to democracy. Let it go with that. Stop with this. It's the end of democracy if we elect Donald Trump. He doesn't seem to be able to stop. The Democrats don't seem to be able to stop this Hitler stuff. And the country's not buying it. So I think the effect with normal people, and even in California there are normal people, I think the effect is to look at these Democrats and say they've lost their minds. And perhaps it's time that they were not promoted.
You would have bet on Steve Garvey if you'd listened to Roy. Because
well,
I said, I said, Steve Garvey, I didn't say he was a favorite. I said, Steve Garvey can win this deal. if things are breaking right, and I will tell you, Mark Takano, Inland Empire congressman, been here for years, Biden won this district in 22 by like 25 points. He even said it 2 days ago. He was on that secret letter. He wouldn't stamp his name to it. He was on the 4 that sent the letter up saying, Biden, you got to get out of here. He even said, from 26 points down in 22, he said his internal polling right now is showing Trump leading in the 39th congressional district, which basically Riverside, Moreno Valley, Paris, and part of the Hemet Valley. That's how much it's changed. That's how much you want to talk. People are woke. They're just woke in the right way now, and I think that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 50% plus, and it's becoming a big plus now. They're not buying. Yeah. They're not buying the lie anymore, Susan.
Well, it's very interesting. The whole timing on this, assuming it was a plot and not a random shooter, it was timed for after the immunity decision came down from the Supreme Court and before the nomination. So was the plan, if it was a plan, to force the Republicans to nominate someone else at their convention and then go forward from there? Was that what they were thinking, if it was a plan? You know, if you were writing this as a screenplay, that's what it would be. So this is a situation now where instead what they've got is a president who is injured, but not seriously, who has survived a presidential assassination attempt, which is rather extraordinary, who has total unity of his party behind him, who came out of that shooting situation with his wits about him to stand up, to reassure the crowd that he was okay, that the country was okay, to tell them to fight. That picture with his fist in the air, pushing the Secret Service down, with the flag behind him, blood on his face, fight, surviving an assassination attempt, that is absolutely inspirational. That is the kind of thing you would see on a bronze sculpture in a park, if we ever did bronze sculptures in a park and Antifa didn't tear them all down. But that is the kind of heroic grand-scale leadership that inspires people. And it did. It inspired people. It's like whatever is going on in your life, you are able to overcome it. If he can do that, we can certainly do whatever's in front of us. And it's inspirational leadership, and it has changed history. And we are living through some interesting times here. I don't know that the Democrats can save themselves. I think they're too far gone. I think it might be like the breakup of the Democratic Party in the future, because this is... They have to lose this progressive wing that's anti-Israel and anti-business and anti-everybody, and the gender crazy people who want teachers to tell children that they're a boy when they're a girl or a girl when they're a boy and then not tell the parents. They have to get the Democratic Party, as it used to be in the Kennedy era, has to reclaim the ground, and they have to separate themselves from whatever that is. It's a little bit of socialism and a little bit of insanity. So I think the Democratic Party could end up splitting over this. And I certainly see a long-term realignment in politics happening right now, where the minority votes, the Black and Latino votes that were assumed in every statistical model by pollsters to be Democrat for the rest of time are not. And that is quite interesting, because we are seeing a realignment. There was a time when the blacks were Republicans because the Republicans were the ones who ended slavery and fought for civil rights. That changed at some point in the 20th century, and the black vote became Democratic, I guess perhaps Lyndon Johnson. And since that time, it's been taken for granted, utterly reliable, 90%. Well, it's not going to be 90% this year. Everything is changing. And what's that quote from, I don't know whose book it is, probably Hemingway? How did you go bankrupt? Gradually, then suddenly. Well, I think that's what's happening to the Democratic Party. It's going to be gradual and then sudden.
Switching gears a little bit, we got a couple minutes left, but I want to get to your column because we've got our own disaster of a goofball political leader in California. Your column, Gavin Newsom's pipe dream goes up in smoke, Susan Shelley.
Yes. Well, It was time to talk about Gavin Newsom's presidential ambitions and exactly what his record is in California. So that's what I did. I wrote a column that talked about how he has been at war with the people of California, with their expressed wishes, with their constitutional rights, and with their well-being ever since taking office in 2019. It started with saying there's no death penalty. Right after the voters had said, we want the death penalty and we want it speeded up. And he walks in, he doesn't care, no death penalty. Then you have the COVID situation. He shuts down the state earlier than anybody else with no thought of how it's going to be managed or implemented or how people will survive it, shuts down the state, and then hangs on to his emergency powers longer than any other governor, closes the schools, reopens them when the teachers union in each district agrees to open them. Instead of they're open and the kids go back to school, it was, well, first we're going to have a little contract negotiation, and then we'll see if we're ready to return to work. Appalling. Appalling. He has signed legislation for that is a flat violation of your constitutional rights. There was AB 2098, which told doctors that they could not talk openly to patients about COVID and COVID vaccines. They could only say what was approved by the government or they would lose their licenses. Totally unconstitutional, struck down by the courts. But he signed it. And then he has signed countless laws that fly in the face of the Second Amendment. The courts strike those down, and then he hurls invective at the courts. He insults all the judges, and he pontificates about how wrong they are. It's a constitutional right. It's not optional. That's what a right is. The government doesn't get to decide whether you have it or not. He has been a catastrophe in so many ways. The energy policy, the prices that we're paying in California, the companies that are leaving, the jobs that are lost. Absolutely a disaster in this state. And now he has signed this gender law that says schools can't have rules requiring teachers to contact parents if their kids express gender dysphoria, prohibited to contact parents. And as a result of that, Elon Musk is moving 2 of his companies out of California. He said that was the final straw. SpaceX is leaving the South Bay, and Twitter is leaving San Francisco. He's moving everything to Texas because families will not work in this state and put their kids in school. Well, there you go.
You got it. You did that in about 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Good timing. We got about a minute left to tell them why they should join HJTA. Go
to hjta.org and get our new ballot measure recommendations, get our new candidate endorsements that are going to be up soon. We are ready for the election at the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. We're working on ballot arguments, contributing to them, writing them. Everything you're going to need for understanding what's a tax increase while those people are trying to fool you will be at the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, and you can be a member for just $15 a year and strengthen the voice of reasonable people in California. hjta.org. Join us.
Thanks for being on, Susan. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Roy.
You got it there, Susan Shelley, saying it like only she can. As you know, I've been talking about standing up for our country, doing something. These big box stores stayed open while the little guys closed. Will our voices be heard? Does voting with our dollars work? PatriotSwitch.com gives patriots the power to walk away from the big box stores forever. Stop supporting the enemies of freedom now. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com. Is your car doing the hucklebuck and afraid you will be stuck? Well, head on down to Toyota of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, and the San Bernardino Auto Mall, and catch a Camry, look ravishing in a Rogue, or be styling in a Subaru. Don't forget I-10 Toyota in Indio for those of you in the lower desert. You deserve to be the happiest human on the planet. So head on down to one of these 4 great dealerships for the car of your dreams. Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't bumble and stumble, subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around. That's it. If you want to buy American, go to patriotswitch.com. If you need a new Toyota or Subaru, go to one of Cliff Cummings Great Dealerships at San Bernardino Auto Mall. The 10 and 215 freeways. Don't forget I-10 Toyota down in the lower desert. J.D. Vance should be coming up, I think, pretty soon on the RNC convention. That should be a very rousing speech, anticipating and setting the stage for the big role tomorrow with Donald J. Trump as he makes his grand entrance after the assassination attempt on his way, hopefully, to the White House back in 3.5 months. That'll do it for today, but as we usually say this time, mandatory, you're back here in 23 hours. Why? Enjoy the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya!
All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow.